Hello, everybody, and welcome to our first ever podcast of the I'm Just Saying podcast, sponsored by Fridge Cozies. Have you ever picked up your fridge and it's just too cold? Fridge Cozies. Buy one today. All right, this is your host, Mitchell Freeze, and I'm joined by Jacob Geiger. Jacob, how's it going?
Oh, it's going fantastic. Every day I'm here with you is just great.
How's your week going?
Well, it was a week. It's over now. I mean, I guess I really don't have much else to say about it, but what about you, Mitch?
Nothing. I want to get into something, though.
All right.
Something I've been thinking for a long time.
All right, hit me with something good.
All right, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
All right.
Bitch or not a bitch?
How so? Like
Anything. Hit me up. What do you think?
Man, I don't know. Bitch or not a bitch? That's kind of like.
Let me drop what I think on you.
All right.
This guy has the gall to decide that Pluto's not a planet.
Ooh.
And then he goes out and he makes it happen. Like, total bitch.
I'm gonna be honest. When I learned Pluto wasn't a planet, that kind of fucked my whole childhood.
Right?
I didn't know he was the guy that had anything to do with
Yes,
that.
he did. I have a quote.
Oh no.
From Neil deGrasse Tyson. He said, "I'm fed up with spaghetti. It's inefficient. There's too many separate noodles. It would be better if it was one extremely long noodle. That way you could eat an entire bowl in one slurp. And if you get bored, you could just play jump rope with it." Is this the man that we want deciding whether Pluto is a planet or not?
I don't think this is the guy Pluto wants to decide whether or not Pluto's a planet.
I think when the aliens on Pluto get this news, they're going to come here and just take Neil deGrasse Tyson.
You know, I had some semblance of respect for this man coming into this, but I don't know. I just feel like, you know what? I'm gonna say he's a bitch. I'm just gonna say it. He's a bitch.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're a bitch.
I hope he hears this. I really hope he does.
I agree. Reminds me, I was talking about space stuff. We had a conversation the other week. You were okay. You know what I'm gonna bring up. You do not like the new Star Wars movies.
Oh boy.
Why? Explain to me.
As a movie, it was okay. I'll say that now. It's okay as a movie. As a fan of Star Wars, though, it was definitely disappointing. Like I rank it on levels of the prequels minus like I don't know, like whatever stars you'd have. It's just my main problem.
Rank it 1 through 8.
1 through 8. Like
1 through 8. Rank the 7 and 8. Rank them.
7 and 8.
They'd be 7 and 8.
They'd be 7 and 8. If I'm honest, probably the I guess main storyline, I would put them as my least two favorite.
I have them as 1 and 2. They are my favorite. And the thing is, like, people said that it's just a ripoff of Episode 4, A New Hope.
Okay.
And to them I say, you know what? They took Episode 4, A New Hope, and they just made it better. The characters are better. Everything's better. I don't get what's your problem with a new, better movie compared to an old one that was made on a budget.
I'm going to say
with better
this.
characters.
I'm going to say this. I thought 7 could have been an okay starting point. I did not walk out of the theater on 7 and be like really disappointed. I was like, yes, they rehashed a lot of the old ideas, but at the same time, I thought it had some potential. When Rian Johnson took over, I don't really think he had much of a plan or really knew where they were going with it, because it seems like everything that 7 could have set up, they just threw out the window.
I disagree. I think what happened is he saw the similarities between 7 and 4, and he decided to throw a wrench in everything so that in the episode 9, they had to create their own ending. They couldn't just go to the same old wheelhouse.
Was that wrench Rose? Man.
Rose.
Gosh, what? Please tell me how she was.
That's agreeable. I didn't like her that much. I don't hate her as much on the second and third. I watched it 3 times. Second and third rewatch, I think she's just there, and I'm fine with it. But first watch, yeah, I was like covering my eyes when it was like cringy.
Like,
and I hate what she does in the end.
I don't mean to compare anyone.
By the way, spoiler alert. I'm gonna spoil stuff.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice to know.
It doesn't matter.
If you haven't seen it by now, you know what? You don't deserve a spoiler.
You don't deserve a spoiler. See, my thing is when she saves Finn at the end, I think it's stupid. I think he should have just died. What's the point?
Yes. You know, I think we're really getting mixed messages from that movie. This is part of the thing that there wasn't really a cohesive direction with the plot, because on one hand you had, Vice Admiral Gender Studies, the purple hair general who, turned the ship around and crashed it straight into, kamikaze style into the First Order ship. And it was like, oh, sacrifices are necessary to, well, they're necessary to win sometimes. But then Finn, on the other hand, he's going to do the same thing. He's going to stop this giant cannon from, killing all of his friends. And then Rose, or Jar Jar Binks Jr., I don't know what really it is, but she came out of nowhere, smashed him out of the way, and said, war is not about killing who we don't like. It's about saving the people we love. And to me, okay, it's a nice message, but war is war. It's not pretty. There's not.
I really like Poe Dameron. I really like his arc in the movie where he's just this hot shot. He's trying to do this plan all by himself. It doesn't work out, and then he learns from his mistakes. But at the same time, yeah, it is weird how the lady who's in charge, I don't even know her name, the purple hair lady, yeah, she's in charge, and then she gets to go on her own mission. She's just like, oh, I'm going to do this all on my own and save the day, right? That's a little weird.
Well, I think...
And it's just because she's right, but it's weird because I don't like her as much, so she shouldn't be right.
Once again, I love Star Wars. As a franchise growing up, I watched it. I even love the prequels, and I know that's not a popular opinion, but for all the flaws it had, I loved it, and it's just part of my childhood growing up. I didn't think of having politics stuffed down my throat, and that's the direction I think why Disney's screwing up. I think they tried, they had a message, which I don't think is a bad message, but they took it to the extreme of, look, we have strong female characters. I'm not offended by that. That's good. I think, Princess Leia, for example, is
I did have a problem with it.
Yeah?
I didn't like that Rey was the main character in the beginning. I liked when I thought the black guy was. That means at least I'm progressive in one way, but not in another. But
I think they really had
he kind of pisses me off. I really want him to be a cool character, because in the trailers for the original movie, they show him with the lightsaber, and he's supposed to be, they trick you into thinking he's the hero, but then it's Rey, right? No, okay.
That was not for that reason.
But it changes because she's a badass in the new one, and I really like her.
But why?
The storyline between her, Kylo Ren, and Luke, I think, is a phenomenal part of what's... I don't even know what the movie's called. The Last Jedi?
Yeah.
I think it's phenomenal. I know you don't like it.
Well, I think, for me, the problem was that she started out as this character that had all this power, all these skills, but it was never really explained how she got any of it. The girl, for example, in the first movie, never picked up a lightsaber, never had any training in the Force, but she was using these Jedi mind tricks. And then at the end, against Kylo Ren, she took the lightsaber out of the snow with the Force and beat a guy who was trained for years. I don't think there's a good rebuttal to that.
But those two are the most, Luke says in the new movie that there's only one person she's seen with more power than her before, and it's Kylo Ren. And so, on a scale, and that's just raw power, on a scale, she could have more raw power than him.
Okay, but even if you want to make that argument, Anakin Skywalker was the chosen one, right? He was a child born of the Force. When he was a little kid, he didn't solo Darth Maul.
Yeah, he did. Are you kidding? He saved everyone.
Yeah, he blew up the train.
Now that's what I call pod racing.
But that was partially explained because they're like, well, at least he has some experience with this because he's been trying to pod race, and he wasn't even successful at it most of the time. A lot of times he was just...
I know people hate those movies, but low-key, pod racing was my thing as a kid. Dude, I love the pod racing parts.
I remember...
There used to be a game I'd play on the N64.
There was on the N64.
The pod racing game.
And they had them in some arcade. I can't remember exactly, but... Yeah, no, I would just play the pod racing game, and I was like, this is so cool. It never dawned on me that people didn't like the prequels. But, I guess really until I got in high school and people started saying how awful they were. But, I don't know, I like them.
Until then?
I really was so ignorant. I just thought everyone liked all Star Wars.
I heard this on a different podcast. People actually enjoyed them. In first viewings, when they would go to them, they were actually rated very much better by the people going there. There's people, and I think it might be what these new movies are like, except that I won't change my opinion that I like them a lot.
I'll admit, there is some pretty stiff acting in there. I don't like the sand. It's coarse and rough. Wow, that's just that line.
Wait, What's that one from?
He's so he's taken the Princess Padme, right? And so they're on I think Naboo because he's trying to hide him from like assassins.
Is this in episode 2? We
Yes.
don't need to talk about episode 2.
Why
Episode
not?
2 is the worst episode.
I agree it is.
I
I think that the middle episode, unfortunately, is always the worst episode, but it serves
not
as a
this one. This one was the best ever, even though I already rated it
Oh my
worse than
God.
7.
It's the worst though. It's so bad.
The fight, the scene where Kylo Ren and Rey team up is my favorite scene in all of Star Wars ever.
But did they really team up
They
though?
did to fight all those guys in Red Samurai guys, which, by the way,
So
we're too strong. Like, I don't know how they got that far in the fight. You know?
I would argue again was trained for one day and kicked these supposed trained guardians of this emperor-like figure's ass. It just doesn't make sense to me.
But they're supposed to be like very strong. I would have assumed that they'd kick their ass better. Like they were on the ropes for a little bit, especially Kylo. If she doesn't toss the lightsaber to him, he's dead.
And that's another one of
But
my.
that's a phenomenal part, right? When she tosses it to him, he catches it and turns on, it goes right through the guy's head.
Okay, some of the action scenes were
By the
cool.
way, skip ahead if you don't want to listen to the Star Wars January.
Yeah,
We'll be talking about sports later.
we got other things we talk about.
Yeah,
I promise this isn't like a
It's not
weekly Star Wars podcast where we debate
We'll get to other stuff. It'll be fine.
But anyways.
When he reaches his hand out and she wants him to join, I wanted them to join. I wanted that to be the story. It'd be different.
Very small.
It would have been a different Star Wars where they actually team up.
Yeah,
And when they're like, oh my gosh, it's just, what do you feel about her being nothing?
I don't.
Like her parents being no one.
This is
What
what
do you
I'll
think
say.
about that?
I honestly think that was a throwaway line. I don't think it was meant to be taken as literally as it
You think
was.
her parents could still be?
I think that's going to be the plot twist because they're like playing it down right now. I think that's going to be one of the things that tries to get everyone back into the stories. They're actually going to say, "Oh, your grandfather was."
I think that would be rude. I love that she's no one.
I like the concept of that too, but I think because it was said so casually, it really wasn't said with like.
I just love when Kylo says, "You're nothing. You're not part of this, but you're not nothing to me." Like it grabbed at my heartstrings.
Man, I don't think anything in that movie grabbed at my
Like
heartstrings.
I really wanted it to happen. It didn't happen. I was mad. I at first watch through, I was mad that Snoke didn't have any explanation. Like it really,
So
because
pointless.
that was the number one thing going into the movie. I was like, I want to know who Snoke is. Didn't happen. But
I got a theory that this whole movie is just kind of to troll everyone, and that actually it's all going to be explained. Snoke's going to come back somehow, and that Rey's parents are actually like, or her grandfather's like Obi-Wan Kenobi or something, and
that would not be possible.
and then everyone.
Think about his age. Think about when he dies, and think about how old she is.
Well,
It's
okay,
not possible
it could
for
be
her,
it could be
related.
a blood relative, a great grandfather. What I'm saying is that there have been, and this shows my nerddom for Star Wars, but in like what's considered canon, which like the TV show version, there's canon. Obi-Wan had like this fling with this like princess lady on a different planet. So I mean, I would say it's possible.
Hey, I've actually heard that part.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, but that was based off the fact that she's like Leia's daughter. That's why I heard about that part.
Yeah, but this is a different lady entirely. But yeah,
Wait, by the way, we need to talk about that. We need to talk about Leia, Superman Leia.
fucking
Mary Poppins.
Space Mary Poppins. She literally stuck her arm.
Incredible. Worst part of the movie. I wanted her to die. It would have tied up so many loose ends.
I thought she had to die.
She's a dead person.
She's literally dead. You can't make a movie about a dead person.
Like, so now there's gonna have to be a gap between where the next movie starts and the end of the last movie, and I don't like that. I like the continuation. Even though there's a gap every time, I don't want a gap where there's like, oh yeah, this person died.
I mean, they rewrote enough of the movie, like halfway in, from my understanding of it, that when she died.
The next movie's not even written.
No, I'm saying from this eighth one.
Yeah, they could have rewritten it.
That's what I'm saying. They could have rewritten it. So if they only wanted to kill off one of the original, main cast members, they could have rewritten it so Luke didn't die and Leia died at that part. And now Luke's now the redeemed face of this rebellion.
That's a bit much. I think their theory is that the first movie was Han's, the second movie was supposed to be Luke's, and this third movie was supposed to be Leia's big movie, and it's not anymore, unless like for other reasons,
We'll
like
see how they handle that.
I want to see what their idea was when she was alive and how it changes.
I really hope this eighth movie is just like blows my mind, or the ninth movie I should say, really just blows my mind, and everything is tied together, and I walk out with a renewed sense of love for this franchise. But I only saw the movie once. I saw the seventh one 3 times because I was really happy that a new movie came out. I only saw this one once, and I didn't feel the need to go back and rewatch it.
All right. Well, I hope Snoke's not dead and he's actually Jar Jar Binks. All right. Moving on. Moving on. Let's talk about sports.
All
First
right.
thing up, let's talk some football. Yesterday at the combine, what's his name? How do you pronounce it?
Saquon Barkley,
Saquon Barkley, 29 reps. Pretty
dude,
good.
looks like an animal.
I want, honestly, as a Cleveland fan, we're going to talk Cleveland football for a bit.
That is rough.
Cleveland fan?
I mean, I can't
First
judge.
overall. I don't want a quarterback. I want Saquon Barkley and Minka Fitzpatrick in the first round.
And I don't remember what I think it was their GM that stated they didn't particularly see any value, or they weren't particularly impressed with this quarterback class of this coming year. So I don't know if that's just to kill hype, or what, but I don't think they're going to take anyone in the first round. They might take someone in the second round, for example, if Baker Mayfield falls, because I mean he's kind of he's not your typical looking quarterback. I mean, what is he, 6 foot? Kind of mobile.
Yeah, he's pretty short. He's like Johnny Manziel, but I think he has I don't know, does he have a better arm? Less running?
Yeah,
I think the accuracy might be on.
He's a little bit better of a quarterback, a little less of a runner. I think he's a little bit more mentally stable. But
Hey, comeback season. Come on. It's comeback season. Johnny Manziel's playing for some Texas spring league or something. I don't know.
Canada.
He didn't choose to sign with Canada. Stop making up false facts. It's not a real thing.
You know what? I thought Canada was the place you went when you didn't have any other options
That might be true.
for everything, not just football.
I can't find this. Max Potrats on Twitter tweeted that if the Browns are able to draft Saquon Barkley, Minka Fitzpatrick, and Lamar Jackson from Louisville, that they will make the playoffs. And this is not like a report or anything. This is just my cousin, so it means nothing.
Oh, I was like, I don't recognize that name, but
No, he's younger than us. He goes to Madison. What do you think about that? Do you think I like them not? I like them addressing the quarterback with a different quarterback. I'm not as in Lamar Jackson as he is, but
this is what I think about the Cleveland situation. And it's tough because when you're struggling, no one wants to stay. It doesn't matter if you can throw money at players. They just don't want to stay. They don't want to be on a team that wins less than 4 games a year.
I would. I love the Cleveland Browns. I will play for them forever.
And that's if you have like the LeBron James of football come in that was born in Cleveland and just loves the city of Cleveland, that might be
I
different.
think LeBron James of football is LeBron James. I think he just play whatever he wants.
He probably
Get him in there at tight end or wide receiver.
Someone would sign him.
Someone would sign him.
What was it? Antonio Gates was a college basketball player.
Yeah, let's switch it around. But he wouldn't be a tight end. He's not.
I don't think he's beefy enough.
He's too old too.
Yeah.
What would he be? A linebacker? A running back? No, running back.
He'd be a receiver. I think he'd be more of a slot guy, kind of like a.
He's not fast though.
Neither. Well, no, but like a Donald Driver. Think of that. Donald Driver wasn't fast. He was a good slot receiver though, because he had hands and he could take a
I
hit.
disagree. LeBron, don't come to the NFL. You're bad. You can only play basketball. And I bet you probably could play baseball if you could hit a ball. I don't know.
MJ was better.
MJ?
Yes.
Nah, I don't like the Bulls.
Fair enough. I don't like the Bulls either, but I acknowledge he's a good player.
No, I'm more of a Dwight Howard kind of guy. Orlando Magic, 2007, 2008. I don't know exactly what the year was. It was a fun time, though, to be a Magic fan. Dribble it down in the paint. Hit it, throw it out to Turgaloo for the 3.
Oh, God.
Turgaloo, let's go.
Are they the Hornets now? Did they change because the
Charlotte
Charlotte?
Bobcats.
Okay.
Bobcats are the Hornets, and the Hornets are the Pelicans. I was gonna say the Bobcats, but I'm like, that's not true. That's a false. That's a false fact.
It was New Orleans changed their name to the Pelicans, right?
Yeah, and then they got rid of the Hornets, and then Charlotte took the Hornets.
I like the name the Hornets. I don't know.
I do too. I actually got a Charlotte's Hornets hat like a year before they made the decision to move back to being the Hornets, and I was like, wow, I'm like the freaking Messiah over here. I'm Jesus Christ himself.
I think pretty much everyone called it when they came out and said they were going to be named the Pelicans.
Yeah.
Like that's, I guess of all the birds, it's one of like the least sporty bird name. You might as well call yourself the Waddle Penguins or something like that.
The freaking gooses. New Orleans geese.
The New Orleans geese. I think that even has a better ring to it. But Pelican, it's just, I don't know.
We didn't talk anything about football.
Yeah,
we just went straight on talking about freaking birds.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be honest, we
What's your team? You like the Packers or the Raiders? You got a Raiders hat.
Being born in Wisconsin, all my family are Packer fans. But I don't know if I just take sympathy with all of the broken teams of the world. But
The Raiders, they got what's his face coming back?
Gruden?
They got Gruden.
Yeah, big contract.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'll tell you what. You run a spider white banana, that play will work every time. I love Brett Favre. That's my Gruden impression. I think it's pretty spot on.
I was your John Madden impression. To be honest, he loved Brett Favre too.
He did. I think Gruden did too. Oh fuck! I messed that up. Everyone loves Brett Favre.
I mean, how can you not? Minus all the recent scandals and stuff.
Gruden, I love Derek Carr. I wouldn't have gone to the team unless you had Derek Carr. What a time to be alive.
Stinker of a season though.
Wasn't he coming off an injury?
Yeah. Okay, little story time. I remember the one moment, probably the maddest I've ever been in like the history. Like
Derek Carr's injury.
I remember, playing the Colts, being ahead, and the Colts had no shot at making the playoffs, and the guy wraps him, and he's got him, but he decides to roll onto his ankle. I think I swore at the TV, and I just about punched the TV. I was so mad. I was like,
oh my god,
because prior to this, we hadn't had a winning season since 01, 02. It was the year after we went to the Super Bowl.
And the year after Tom Brady took your Super Bowl away with his dumb tucking the ball.
No, I think this was the year after we got shelled by Tampa.
Oh, fudge.
But yeah, no, don't even get me started on the tuck rule. It made me very happy that Tom Brady lost the game on a fumble. Thought it was kind of poetic justice. I was hoping he'd retire after that, but
oh yeah, he sucked in the Super Bowl.
He got deep.
Like I was on the train the whole time. I'm like, wow, he's having one of the greatest Super Bowls of all time. Then he fumbled, and I'm like, yep, I hate him. Worst Super Bowl performance ever. This guy is the worst quarterback to ever play the game. How do you fumble there? And also the catch, him versus Nick Foles. Are you kidding me?
That guy.
The same play, but he pulled it off. You knew they were going to win at that point. How was the Patriots going to win when they ran the same when the Eagles just like freaking are like, hey, remember that play you couldn't do? Watch this, and they complete it. Like it was amazing.
I'm amazed with the whole run of Nick Foles because everyone doubted him. I doubted him at first because he wasn't good enough to be a starter elsewhere. But
I doubted him
for the Eagles.
I doubted him until I needed the Eagles to win the Super Bowl for me to be happy, which was in the Super Bowl. Who'd they play in the championship round? Eagles. They played the Vikings. Actually, you know what?
Nope.
Here's a story. I actually was rooting for them there as well, but I was rooting for the Jaguars overall because I thought they'd beat They got rigged. It was kind of rigged. New England had one penalty called against them in that whole game. It was bullshit. The Jaguars should have won that game. But anyway, during the middle of the season, I made a bet because we're near Minnesota, so we have a lot of Minnesota fans over here. And I basically made a bet with someone up here, and I said, here, listen to this. If Case Keenum, not Minnesota, if Case Keenum wins the Super Bowl, because I hate Case Keenum, I don't think he's good. If Case Keenum loses the Super Bowl, you give me $1. And if he wins the Super Bowl, I'll kill myself. That was the bet. And luckily he didn't win the Super Bowl. So
pretty good.
It was. Dude, against New Orleans, I was sure New Orleans was going to win. And then he tossed up that prayer. And I thought God was against me at that point. I was going to church, I was praying, I was like, do not do this to me. It was awful.
And we were talking about, because be honest, you like Green Bay, you hate the Vikings. It's just what it is. But we were watching that and we're like,
I hate them all.
Yeah, fair enough. But it's
I like the Lions.
Detroit.
Stafford, best quarterback in the league.
He's something. He's good.
Actually, Garoppolo is better. I forgot.
If you looked at his stats,
I just look at how much you get paid.
So much money.
And soon it's going to be Kirk Cousins, and I hopefully for the Browns. I think the best move for the Browns, give as much money as you need to Kirk Cousins, get him to come there, and then take Saquon Barkley, take Minkah Fitzpatrick in the first round. Minkah Fitzpatrick is the best cornerback in this draft. John Dorsey said, you don't need to know where you're going to play him before you draft him, which I don't necessarily agree with, but we can use help at safety or at cornerback, and I think he helps out. We already got some good cornerbacks. We got Jabril Peppers, who they like. He's the long safety. If they move him back, I've been off the train for a little bit with him. It was just a little upset this season, but I think there can be improvement. Myles Garrett, obviously, nothing suggests that he's not going to be the beast he should be. Like, he was injured a little bit, but not bad. I honestly think he comes back with I actually made a bet on that too that I lost. I bet $20 he'd get 20 sacks, and that was never going to happen. But I like making outrageous bets. So he only got 5, but I think he can get around 15 next year, maybe like 12.
And that's a lot of sacks. But this is my main thoughts on the Browns. And as an organization, you look at their team, you look at how they've had high draft picks consistently. I don't think they have a group of bad players. At this moment in time, though, especially with them being such a young group, just the whole psychology of being the Browns at this point, I think really weighs on them. And I'm not saying you can't be successful as the Browns.
I think that used to be a thing, and I think people are saying it's a thing, but we're under Hugh Jackson, who has one win as a Browns coach.
He's awful.
I disagree. I think the players want to play for him. I think obviously he's a likable guy.
Yeah.
And that's why he keeps his job, because everyone loves him. Everyone wants to win for him. I think in that locker room, it's a lot better than we think. It's young players, and that's a main reason why we didn't win any games this year. We could have won like 6 games. We're in a lot of games.
We should have beat the Packers one.
We should have beat the Packers. There was like a play on that. What was it? They threw it up to Josh Gordon in the end zone, and there was pass interference, and it wasn't called. And I know everyone's going to disagree because you're all Packer fans, but screw you.
No, I'll be honest. Any game Brett Hundley was in, we should have won. That's just the fact that Brett Hundley is one of the worst quarterbacks to have worn a Green Bay Packer jersey in recent memory. But granted, we've been spoiled because we've had Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. But even the likes of Matt Flynn and Scott Tolzien, I liked them too.
You know that? So like, it's funny his run in Green Bay. He played how many games? Like a couple.
Yeah, cool.
He got to play a couple games, and he got taken out. The one he got benched was immediately after running in a touchdown. Like, he had a positive play. He had a good play. Like, why didn't you take him out earlier? Like, if you're leaving him in, it's because you're giving him a chance to keep doing better and get the job back. So he does that, and then you take it away from him. I mean, it's smart. He's just not as good of a quarterback as the other backups. But why keep him in at all then? You know, he got the touchdown. He did his job, but then you just take it away from him for no reason, like in the middle of a game. I don't like it.
Well, I don't understand the philosophy if you say, oh, we think we have better options at backup. By that logic, Brett Hundley would have played 2 games, and he would have never seen the field again.
It was a different season.
No, but we didn't have a better backup than Scott Tolzien. Say what you want, but Scott Tolzien was our backup, for better or for worse. We had a different backup other than Brett Hundley, who couldn't have been any worse. But we did not give him a shot because we were trying to trick the rest of the league into thinking we had something.
You're saying the move they made with Tolzien is founded based on the fact that this last season they should have made the same move and didn't.
Well, I'm just saying I just find it's because it's the same coaching staff. I just find it a little bit incredible.
They made it the wrong. This time they should have made that decision.
Yeah, well, I don't see why they didn't, because with Scott Tolzien, to be honest, we knew he wasn't a superstar because he was undrafted out of Wisconsin. Wisconsin, outside of Russell Wilson, we just don't get good quarterbacks because that's not who we are. We're not an offense that values passing. Yeah. And I don't know. I get sticking with the guy because you got to give him a chance, but there becomes a point when it just is a detriment to your whole team. And there's that other backup. I can't even remember his name for the life of me, but
I was rooting for him the whole season.
I wanted him to get in. He got in for like 3 plays at the last game.
I really wanted him. I kept telling everyone, I'm like, this guy's a stud. He's going to beat out Aaron Rodgers for the job. And then he never even got to play.
Oh yeah. No, well,
I gotta tell you what happened to me this year. So I'm playing fantasy football, and I think I'm undefeated at this point. I'm like 4-0 or something. So I'm like, it's time to make the big move. My quarterback's James Winston. Nothing's happening. What am I gonna do? I trade away everything I have for Aaron Rodgers.
And they got hurt the next week.
It gets to Sunday. No, this is on Saturday night. I make this trade. Sunday morning, I'm sitting in front of the TV. I got my chips ready. I'm like about to see Aaron Rodgers score me fantasy points for the first time in my life. The first time I don't have to root against him because I really don't like him. And what does he do? He gets freaking creamed by the Vikings and just destroys his arm. I hate him. He did it on purpose. It was just against me.
Yeah, I 100%. No, I'm kind of a superstitious guy. I get where you're coming from with that.
I'm just a little stitious.
Okay, you're just a little stitious. Well, I'm superstitious. And I used to play fantasy football, every year. But it always seemed my 2 or 3 top picks, no matter who I picked, would end up, having a career/season-ending injury.
Career-ending injury. Did you give him Jermichael Finley the year the Browns put him out of his life?
I did actually.
That's
Yeah,
horrible.
I had Jermichael Finley. Oh man,
We actually
I
ended
had
his life.
Jordy Nelson too. What was it last
Yep.
year? Yeah, I had Jordy
He got
Nelson.
injured before the season started.
Yep.
Why do you have him?
No. Was it last year?
He got injured before the season started. I don't know why you. That's just poor management. You just need to get out. You're done.
You're right. You're right.
You're all washed up.
That's why I stopped playing. I'm not good at fantasy sports. The only thing I ever had success at was fantasy baseball, and I'd say that's down to more pure luck than anything.
No, there's a lot of effort that goes into fantasy
It was too
baseball.
much work.
It's a lot of
It
work.
was fun, but it was a lot.
It's coming up, and actually last year in my fantasy baseball league, I had a situation where I was like in last place, and I couldn't do anything. So it's a keeper league. So I traded away everyone just to get Aaron Judge, and then I also got Cody Bellinger, and I actually get those players in the last 2 rounds this year. So it's kind of like rigged in my favor right now. I also get like a top 5 draft pick. Like, it's kind of ridiculous. I'm going to kill everyone. You've heard it here first. I'm your new champion. And team name, Crocodile Socks. Crocodile Socks. I think it's going to look good on that trophy. The thing about a team name is you got to come up with something that if it gets on the trophy, it's going to make everyone in the league very upset.
And it has to be salty, a little dirty, but not too dirty.
Like Crocodile Socks, everyone's going to be like, why the hell is this on the trophy? This is ruining it. And I'm just going to be laughing as I count my dollar bills. That's right. I'm requesting all my money in singles when I win the league. Take that down.
The strip clubs? Are you good with that?
No, I just want to put them all in a bag and then just like dump the bag on myself.
Oh, so you're the stripper.
I'm the stripper in this situation.
All right, that's cool. I can get down for that. So how much do you have a buy-in for your league?
A buy-in for it?
Yeah, you must have some sort of you have some sort of prize.
It's a $51 buy-in. A lot of the money used to go towards the trophy. I don't think it does anymore, so it's mostly just towards the...
So it's prize money?
It's just prize money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much I win. There's like 12 teams, I think, so I would assume I get around $300 if I win. $400? Maybe not. It depends how much second and third get. If second gets like $200, then I'll only get $300. I'm saying I'll get it because I'm going to win.
All right. Well, that's
not enough. It's not a question. All right. So talking about sports, I don't know anything about soccer. Anything in soccer going on right now?
Well, what do you want to talk about in soccer? That's kind of like a question that can be taken anywhere.
I heard that the U.S. is not going to hold the next FIFA tournament, but someplace like Kuwait. Is it Kuwait?
Oh, so we have the World Cup this year is in Russia. In 4 years, it's in Qatar. And then
so Qatar. Here's what I heard. I heard Qatar is not really a great place to hold.
Oh, it's awful.
It's awful.
They had to change. This is the first time they changed from a summer World Cup to a winter World Cup because it's so hot. It's still hot, but there have been instances where players just collapse and die on the field from heat exhaustion. It's just not a good.
Or from someone in Qatar shooting them because they're of the wrong political party. Actually, they probably only have one there because it's probably a dictatorship.
It's such a mess, and the thing with it is all these stadiums that they don't have, that they said they'd have, they're essentially slave labor. They entice people over from like India, obviously lower income families from like surrounding areas. They entice them over, and
what's the problem with slave labor?
You know what, Mitch? I to be honest, It's written as a law. That's
written as a law.
That's right. I guess that's the main moral argument against it.
Now, would you consider getting what's it called? The child labor laws? Would you consider getting rid of the child labor laws and paying them $2 an hour? Is that slave labor? Calm down. This is a real question. Is that slave labor, or is it not because they're being paid $2 an hour?
I mean, I'm going to argue that that's as close to slave labor as you can get.
But they're children. They're being taught valuable lessons.
I mean, I'm all for teaching kids hard work, holding down a job early, but...
You can hire 30 kids instead of getting one janitor, and they'll clean up the whole place way faster.
Have you ever, babysat or anything of that nature, volunteered at...
I hate it. I just put them in their room and then tell them to come out when their parents come home.
All right.
It's the worst.
So I've done a fair number of times for cousins, relatives, whatever. And I can tell you that when they don't want to work, they just don't. So
Can I tell you what my formula for this is? All the kids,
punishment.
all okay, stop it. So the kid needs to be driven to school, right?
All right, yeah.
But the parent has to go to work, and they have to drop the kid off early, so they have morning care, correct?
Okay. Yes.
Instead of, and so for this, the kid would be put to work and paid. This also works for aftercare for people who need to get picked up later.
So
Why not put them to work instead of have them sit at a cafeteria table doing nothing?
Okay, so instead, let me just run this through real quick. So instead of having, them just be cared for, they're caring for the institution that they're being dropped off at, and then being
Listen,
paid less
they
than
have
minimum wage.
volunteers coming to these schools to watch these dumb kids because the parents can't just drop them off at the right time. They need to work, and we're paying them. It's not like they're not
The
getting
$2 an
anything.
hour?
Yeah.
I mean,
We're also getting an education there, and they're not working for that long. You can make it $5 an hour, and then like they work for 2 hours, get $10.
I mean,
We clean that place up spick and span. Hire less janitors.
right. I don't know if it goes as far as higher less janitors.
The only problem with it is then since these kids are eligible for the workforce, the unemployment rate would go skyrocketing up because of a bunch of kids who there'd be a lot of kids who don't have jobs, and then we'd look really bad to other countries.
Because we're just counting.
Wouldn't we have to count them as part of the workforce if we got some kids? Don't we have to consider all kids as part of the workforce?
You know what? Here's my more logical. This is my more not logical, but rational pitch to this. All right, I'd say if you want to look at, because I'll be honest, when I was like 12 to 14, I wanted some extra money, and obviously they weren't going to put me to work in a factory, but
Okay.
I don't see what's so wrong if you had kids working like a grocery store or I don't know, just like a family-owned shop or whatever, and you pay them.
Family owned's different. You can have
You
this.
can, you're correct.
That's different.
But
I'm not talking about
I'm
that.
saying like a grocery store or
Okay.
some of these smaller, maybe you wouldn't have them like work as a cashier, obviously, because that's a little.
The issue that rises is how do you get them there, and that's where my thing. That's where my theory works because they're working because they are there. So they already got the ride there. They don't have a problem with getting there because they are there, and that's why they're working.
Okay. So I could see this potentially working, but I still think there needs to be some lower age limit. I think there comes a point when
I think 5
Kids
years
have to-
old.
I'd say 10 would have to be the absolute minimum, and then even then it would be highly restricted as to what you have.
You're wasting a lot of time and energy.
But at that point, I mean, before 10, I mean, even at 10 to 12, they're just still kids. I mean,
I think the problem is if you don't let 5-year-olds do it, then they'll be put to work without being paid at all. I think that's the issue there.
I don't think they'd be put to work because there are laws
I think
in
these
place.
tyrannical adults with their tyrannical rule will make these kids do the work and not pay them because they're under there, and that'll become an even bigger issue than paying 10-year-olds.
So what are they doing? I don't
Oh,
understand.
like taking out trash,
Okay,
mopping some floors.
this is just chores.
That's just chores, but the janitor has to do it, right? I understand I'm offending every janitor right now.
The janitor gets paid money though. Like that's their physical job. The kid's job is to be a student.
Well, but once we have all these coal mining places, we won't need janitors because they can go work in the coal mines.
All right, explain.
Well,
Explain the coal mine.
Donald Trump, and I'm not taking an opinion here, so don't tune out. I'm not talking about politics. It's true that he thinks that we need more coal, and whether you agree or disagree, that would mean we need more coal mines. So we need to send people back down into the coal mines to get that coal for us, so we can get some energy for the world. I know I'm not articulating it the best, but isn't that true? Isn't that what he wants? Isn't that what we want?
He's mentioned that coal is a source that should be explored further, I guess, or re-explored. But in my opinion, I think that there's enough unemployment, or ergo enough people that aren't currently counted in unemployment because they're not looking for work currently.
They can go work in the coal mines.
Yeah, but I don't think kids have to fill the void of the jobs that are.
I'm gonna come out and say it. If you don't have a job right now and you really need one, I don't care if you get black-lunged. That's all I'm saying. If you go and work in the coal mines right now and you get black-lunged, I don't care because it's probably because you're unemployed and I don't care.
Put it this way, coal. I don't know how many coal mines we actually have in the U.S. or if we have any coal mines currently.
By the way, that's a joke. I don't actually hate unemployed people.
Mitch he's not a terrible guy. Don't always buy into it 100%. He's not a bad guy, believe it or not. But
I don't wish that you'd get black lung. Sorry. It was
if you get black lung because of this, then well, Mitch didn't give you black lung. It's probably
the
because you're a chronic
other
smoker.
day. I do not have black lung.
Black lung contagious now?
Black lung is contagious.
Dang.
They just came up on. I read it on a website, www.imright.com, and I typed in.
I'm right.com, huh?
Yeah, it's imright.com, and you basically answer a question, and it'll give you someone who agreed with you. And this person said that black lung is transmittable
Well, there you go. You learned something.
through the air, like birds and stuff as well. So if you get pecked by a bird and you have black lung, now someone else who gets pecked by another bird, they'll get black
So
lung.
it's like rabies, except with canaries.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Carrier
Wow.
pigeons, they're always pecking at people.
Wow. Good thing carrier pigeons are all extinct now. That's good stuff.
I don't like birds.
That's okay.
I think they're just going to attack you. Like, what's the point of birds?
What's the point of any animal?
They have meaning. Like,
Yeah,
animals have
birds
meaning.
birds eat insects. Do you really want a bunch of mosquitoes flying around eating? I guess not.
We're not in Africa. I don't have to worry about getting some
You
disease.
get West Nile, now you have Zika.
West Nile? I don't live by the Nile River.
Well, if you go one way
We live by the Mississippi.
you're west of the Nile, but you still get West Nile.
Everybody's west of the mile if you go west of the Nile.
Exactly. That's why it's called the West Nile virus.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I'm
I
saying
just
I'm
don't
saying
care
birds
for birds very much.
they have a purpose. I mean in the ecosystem that's what
You know who doesn't have a purpose? Bees. And I know everyone wants to save the bees, but I want to save me, and I don't like bees.
we're gonna attack a group of insects. It needs to be wasps or yellow jackets or hornets or whatever you want to call them. Because they don't serve a purpose other than just attacking people.
Anything to get rid of bees. I don't care. If it's you want to take care of the wasps and yellow jackets first, that's fine. But at the end of it, I want them all gone.
But bees are actually important. And I say this from a family that has kept bees, for a large, whether it be my grandpa or my dad or my uncle, my aunt, whatever. Bees, they're important. Wasps don't really serve the same function. They don't really pollinate things, and they just kind of attack everyone. So I hate wasps. Bees, they leave you alone unless you physically step on them or go whack their hide with a baseball bat or something.
Just walk down the street, and a bee's coming at you, and there's a bunch of bees. What do?
It's never
You
happened.
cross the street.
Okay.
You go on the other side. You're not going to be on the same street as those. I just don't want bees living in my neighborhood.
So how would you solve then the problem of pollinating crops and other plants around the world if there are no bees?
Put all the plants somewhere else and put the bees there. I don't need plants.
Right, all right. We don't need plants, except we do need
We
plants.
do need plants.
We do
I
need
don't
plants.
need plants.
Why? Okay,
Just
but
let-
you're
let-
part of us. We're all need plants.
But just not here. I can have them from a city right next to me, but not in my city.
Here, I have a solution for you that we can still keep the bees, but yet you can.
I'm not willing to wear a bee suit
No,
all
I'm not-
hours of the day.
I'm not
I
suggesting-
don't even own one.
I'm not suggesting it. I'm saying you buy a nice chunk of land somewhere. You spray a bunch of insecticide all over the area. Probably kill all your plants, trees, whatever.
Okay, I don't care about those.
Yeah, and you put like you build a dome, and you live inside the dome. No bees can get to you.
Dumb sweet dome.
Yeah, there you go. There's your problem. You keep the bees in the rest of the world. The rest of the world's happy. You have your own little, I wouldn't really call it an oasis because everything will probably be dead, but your own little area.
Anything that doesn't have bees is an oasis to me.
I'm really not a fan, huh? Are you
No.
allergic, or you just really don't
I've
like?
never been stung by a bee, and I don't want to today.
Hmm.
I like in the winter when they just die. When they go into hibernation and they die. I don't know how there's always bees.
I don't think they die. They what they do is they huddle up. They huddle up together, and that's how they stay warm.
Oh, if I found what would happen if you found one though? Like a pack of bees hibernating,
Nothing. They're pretty docile.
and you just step on them and they're dead, or would they come to life at that point? I'm always scared of bees during the winter if you find one, because it's like if I pick this up and try and go flush it, is it going to come to life in my hand? Because like fight or flight, if it's a thing for them, because they can fly, they can physically fly. So like fight or flight, they'll probably fly. But like I believe if I was in hibernation and someone tried to pick me up, that I would wake up.
Well, I mean, probably. I guess that logic.
So why wouldn't it be?
I'm not arguing that, but why would you pick a bee up in the middle of winter when it's hibernating?
To flush it, because I don't want it coming to life during the summer when I'm just chilling.
Well, I already gave you your solution.
Bee suit?
No, not the bee.
I'm not moving to a dome. This is not Arizona. You can't just make a dome and live in it.
Why not? What's stopping you?
Rattlesnakes.
There are no rattlesnakes in
There
Wisconsin.
are in Arizona, and that's why you make a dome. All right, moving on.
All right, what do we have next?
I found the news story of the week. I got it in my hand. It's on my phone right now, and we're about to talk about it. So, over in Poland.
Poland,
Yeah, this was a while ago.
the disliked country of Europe.
The disliked country of Europe. They
Yes.
actually caused World War II. It's a little known fact. It was their fault.
I mean, indirectly. I mean, I guess
Directly.
they were directly involved in the start of the war. I guess there's no arguing that.
There was a farmer. His name right here, Mr. Lucas, and he was herding some cows onto, their whatever it is, like I don't know if it's a bus or like a truck or something.
Like a cattle car.
Yep, to send them over to the factory to get chopped up. All right. And one courageous cow escaped, rammed through a fence, and started running away. In the process of, and feel free to interrupt me with anything you have to say about this.
Okay.
In the process of trying to get him back, he actually broke one of Mr. Lucas's workers' arms. And then he swam out.
He swam.
He swam.
Cows
The
can
cow
swim.
he went towards the lake, and he swam to an island in the middle of the lake.
And then what? Like lived happily ever after? Had a family? Like what?
He's been living there. Farmers went there to come and try and get him back, like multiple times, but the farmer just ended up every day he would go over there and just feed him.
Oh, so the cow got his happy ending. Is this like
The cow is no, not yet. So now, so the cow's being fed and stuff, and so here's where it comes in. Everything has to be political, correct?
Yeah. Okay.
So a politician came in. I don't have the name of the politician, but
He's Polish though.
Yep.
So it's a Polish name. We're probably not going to try and pronounce that.
Lucas? Well,
That's probably not how you say
I don't know if it
Sorry,
is.
Polish.
They were a former singer as well. They said they offered to pay for the cow, and they are now going to let it live out in the wild on its own.
You know what? That is an inspirational moment.
Isn't that inspirational?
Do you want me to? When you first brought this story up, I want to tell you immediately where my mind went.
Where'd your mind go?
So there is this children's movie. All right, it has John Cena in it. It's called Ferdinand.
Ferdinand, have you seen that?
Yes.
I have not. Please inform me on this.
It's about this. Okay, so it's like in Spain, and it's about like this ranch that raises bulls for bullfighting. And well, this one, he's played by John Cena, is not an aggressive bull, and he doesn't want to fight. So he escapes the ranch and goes off and finds a family and lives with this family. But eventually he goes into town.
Does the politician pay for him and allow him to live on his own at all?
He ends up living on his own in the end.
Wow.
He goes into the arena to fight the bullfighter, and he just decides not to. But for some reason, the bullfighter doesn't kill him, and he's just so touched by this bull not attacking him that they just let him live happily ever after with his original family.
Could have been a better movie if they just ended up killing him at the end.
I mean,
What a twist for a kids movie.
I mean, I'll be honest. When I was in the theater, with my little cousin, and
You're clearing up, you're like, they're gonna kill him.
the most enjoyable part of that movie for me was the reaction to the kids to the John Cena cow. I just can't take this movie where John Cena is this pacifist giant bull, but he's a huge pacifist, refuses to be aggressive.
I'm gonna come out and say something bold that everyone's thinking, and I think everyone has said. John Cena wants to be The Rock, but he, my sir, is no Rock.
He's not The Rock.
He is not. He's trying to get into the film game. It's just not gonna work.
The Rock.
No one likes him as much.
Regardless of what your thoughts are on, I guess like pro wrestlers in general, like even trying to branch out. I mean, because they're a form of actor, but The Rock had just a look about him. I guess like you could tell pretty much from day one that he was going to be something.
He's a star
if he wanted to be. He was a football player in Miami. He had a family history within the business, I guess, of pro wrestling. Going into it, he came in, was huge. I mean, the dude's.
Yeah.
His arms are like twice the size of my skull. And I don't know, he had a certain way he carried himself. And nothing against, I guess, John Cena. He's just not, I guess they just pitched him too, like, kid-friendly.
Yeah.
No one that looks at John Cena is like, oh, that is the coolest guy ever. I mean, he's a nice guy from what I hear, but he's not The Rock. You're right.
I think people in the WWE universe, people used to love him as much as maybe they like The Rock. But outside of it, people just don't.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. And even within it, I think people kind of a little fed up with him at this point.
Oh yeah, they're done with him.
Yeah,
He's done. He
yeah.
needs to move on to the stuff, but he's just not pulling off. The first thing I ever saw The Rock in, I didn't see. This is not the first thing I ever saw him in, but like in his timeline of filming stuff, I believe that '70s show, he was on a wrestling episode of it. Did you know that?
Well, I
Did you see that?
I haven't seen that one. I heard of it, but I've never seen
Yeah.
it personally.
He was on that, so it's like his acting career has gone back way further than I even imagined.
Hmm.
But he's had a lot of stinkers too, and I kind of make fun of him a lot.
Well, he's grown and he's redeveloped. The thing is, he's always
He's now the action guy, you know.
yeah, he's always been developing himself as a character. Because the problem with like
Tooth Fairy.
yeah, the problem is with like wrestlers that try to turn it more into an acting career is a lot of times the films that they get into are directly tied to like WWE.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And all those movies are garbage. If you've ever watched any of them, they're garbage. Like the ones that they try and put all their wrestlers in, they're just most of them just aren't very good actors. Like The Rock is a good actor.
Andre the Giant.
Oh,
Princess Bride.
Man, have you seen like old wrestlers in like old movies that are put in by? Have you ever seen like Hulk Hogan try to act?
I don't watch
Oh
Hulk
my
Hogan.
God.
I stay away from Hulk Hogan. But Andre the Giant in Princess Bride was very good. Because he plays a giant.
Well,
That's what he is. He was very good. And his lack of English helped him a lot in that role.
Where was he from exactly? I don't know if I remember. I know he's somewhere in Europe, I think.
I don't know. Let's go with Germany. I don't know.
No
He's
clue.
a German guy. He's tall. He's got black hair though, so he's probably not.
That's a mission for
He's not. He's not a pure Aryan, so he's probably not from Germany.
I think he's. I could be wrong. He might not even be from Europe. He might be from Central or
Is
South.
he Jewish?
I
I can imagine him talking like that.
I've absolutely I've never heard him speak, to be honest.
He's not Jewish. I don't know what he is.
He's a big.
Anyway, so like the biggest problem, going back to the news story, the biggest problem I see with this is this cow was going on this truck. How did it know this was a bad truck? Is it like, did it think like, I've seen my friends go on here before and it's never come back?
It's just like the movie. That's what I'm telling
No,
you.
that's what I'm saying. Like, these cows are becoming self-aware. They know what's going on. And while I believe there is a robot problem coming up, I think we are sleeping on the possible cow.
Bovine insurrection.
The cow's turning on us.
Yes.
Right? This one's smart enough to not go in this truck, run away, snap a guy's arm when he's just trying to help him get back because he knows that he can't trust this guy. And then he goes to an island to live on his own. I think supporting him, I honestly think we need to kill this cow. I'm telling you, because we can't set the precedence that if a cow runs away and starts breaking people's arms and starts thinking for itself, that we're going to just pay for it to live. Like, they're all going to start doing this, and suddenly all they need to do is start walking on 2 feet and shit, and now they're running the whole world.
All right. I have 2 comments off that. One, I think this resilient cow would make a very tasty burger.
That's a good. I think so as well.
So I agree with you. I think he should be.
You can take the first bite of the burger and you're like, I feel a lot more braver. I feel like I'm a hero.
You feel the testosterone of that bull. You probably would. 2, I don't think it's a coincidence this news story is around the same time of the movie Ferdinand. I think John Cena is working with the cows.
John Cena?
I think he is a cow.
Do you think he's going to work with the cows to overthrow the government?
It just seems awful.
You heard it here first, folks. Cows overthrowing the government at the hand of John Cena.
It just seems like too much of a coincidence.
It's too much of a coincidence.
There's this whole movie about all these cows escaping their human overlords, and then, at least there's a peaceful ending in the movie, but I think that's not the message the cows are taking from it.
No, I think the peaceful ending in our movie is we're going to let the cow go free, and then they're going to lead an army back at us while they're holding gun AK-47s in their hooves and shooting us all.
Just imagine like the running of the bulls, except with machine guns.
Oh my God.
That's probably what's going to happen.
The running of the bulls, but with machine guns. Soon every day is going to be the running of the bulls when they take over.
No, they're just going to turn strap to their back. It's going to be the end of it.
So, we covered a lot today.
A lot of random stuff. It's all over the map.
Talked about why Neil deGrasse Tyson's a bitch.
He is. Come at me, Neil.
Talked about Star Wars. Talked about some sports. And we talked about why the cows soon will be our overlords.
It's possible. You know what? I'm past the point in 2018. These cows can be whatever they want to be. So
I think at the end of this, I think it's important to note that we're all woke to the cows. We know what you're doing. Don't think you're hiding from us. And thanks for joining us. This has been Mitch. This has been Jake. Until next time, I'm just saying, bye.